I'm on a quest to find the strongest weapons of Dark Souls. We had numerous comments in the last few videos mentioning both the Great Scythe and the Scythe for review. Is the Great Scythe able to hold its own when compared to its peers? Let's find out. If we take a look at the information that I've gathered and summarized on screen, it shows the defining features of this weapon. Honestly, there's so many strengths with this weapon, it would be easier just to look at the couple weaknesses it has. The main strengths this weapon has is the damage throughput, range, acquisition, stat requirements, and moveset. Let's take a deeper dive into each strength to see the magnitude of each category. The base damage and lack of any other damage types may lead you to believe that the damage throughput is low, but don't be misled. The initial damage of this weapon is very strong, but if you can believe it, this thing's a grower, not a shower. It doesn't quite have the early game dominance that something like the Black Knight Halberd has, where you're just cruising around 2-shotting, 3-shotting bosses. It's still great early game, don't get me wrong, but the damage increase comes a lot from scaling and upgrading as you progress through the game. The Bell Gargoyles was the first time I really noticed that the damage was starting to ramp up. This is one of the few times that I've killed the first gargoyle before the second one even spawned. Usually it doesn't happen, usually I'm playing with just horrible weapons and that just doesn't happen. Where the base damage is behind compared to other weapons, the scaling and the speed of this weapon really make up for it. It scales very well with dexterity, giving it an A grade, and also scales slightly with strength. At a regular plus 15 path with 40 dexterity and 27 strength, two-handing it, you'll be hanging around 500 attack rating prior to any buffs or enchants. You really start feeling the damage ramp up towards the mid game, kind of around Ornstein and Smo is when you start feeling it. The Great Scythe also has bonus bleed buildup that's super effective on certain bosses. Bosses like the Sanctuary Guardian, Stray Demon, they're all susceptible to bleed. You'll just be tearing right through them. As mentioned before, this also is one of the faster weapons. As is majority of the halberds are decently fast, this is one of the fastest halberds inside of the halberd classification. This weapon is just such a beast against the demon types. Its ability to build up bleed is just so good. The Great Scythe is also enchantable, which only furthers your ability to crank damage. I try to stay away from enchanting it too often because the purpose of this playthrough was to test the weapon itself, but having an enchantable weapon just provides so much flexibility with what you can do with it. Even though this is a dexterity weapon, it really does feel like a strength weapon, purely due to its length, and then the damage numbers you'll just see on screen feels great, dude. I do have it at plus 15 here, but you're dealing almost 500 damage just for a light attack. The lack of poise damage is pretty much the only reminder you have that this is a lighter dexterity weapon. The only time I noticed the low poise damage was on Priscilla. You need to deal a certain amount of poise damage to break her out of stealth, and this was not dealing enough poise damage to do it. I ended up killing her without even breaking her out of stealth. She was in stealth the entire time. The Great Scythe is in the top 3 longest range weapons in the halberd classification, and it has one of the longest weapon ranges than most weapons in the game. Majority of the weapons beating the Great Scythe in terms of range are simply just in the spear class, just due to that classification, so that's what's giving it this rank. You can effectively dispatch enemies that would normally be a threat at close range from a safe distance. Once again, we're looking at enemy types like the Man-Eater shells. They're no problem since you can attack as soon as they become within the weapon's range. Other enemies like those torch-wielding dudes right before the Stray Demon, they're no problem as well. This is another weapon that you're able to get just so early on into your playthrough. The only boss you need to kill is the Asylum Demon in the tutorial. That's it. Other than that, this weapon's wide open for you. For this weapon, you also don't need any starting gift shenanigans with the Master Key. All you need to do is go down to the Catacombs from Firelink. All you have to activate is one bridge, jump off that bridge onto a ledge, and it's just light on the ground. You don't even need to kill an enemy to get it. This is providing you an early, very good weapon prior to even going to the Taurus Demon. We're also looking at extremely low stat requirements. This ain't like the Black Knight Halberd. If you plan on two-handing this, all you need is 10 strength and 14 dexterity. That makes the barrier to entry very low and can accommodate a lot of builds. The moveset on this weapon is also phenomenal for 2 reasons. Not gonna lie, at first I was not a fan of this moveset whatsoever. The light attacks are simply just a repeating vertical swing. It's not super useful and you can easily miss your target. Majority of my attack misses aren't due to the range because this thing has really crazy range. It's due to this narrow window in which the weapon lands. I also have this habit of enjoying playing the game without using target lock for larger enemy types. I find it easier just to dodge and attack like this. I was missing a lot of the smaller enemies. That being said, the running light attack has got to be one of my favorite movements in the game. It has a leaping horizontal swing that's extremely quick. It's a 180-degree arc that hits anything in front of it since the weapon's range is so long. Running and hitting one of these is easily one of my favorite ways to engage combat using this weapon. Sometimes those pitchfork guys at the DLC could be so annoying, but this weapon has no issue with engaging with them first with a running light attack. For the majority of the playthrough, I thought this was the best attack feature this weapon had to offer until I tried the heavy attack. Once again, we're looking at an extremely wide 180-degree arcing swing that just cleaves anything in front of you. As if that wasn't good enough, you could quickly follow it up with another heavy attack with another 180-degree arc, which means you're covering a 360-degree area around you with heavy damage. Some honorable mentions. One is the weight. This is a relatively light weapon. It only weighs 5 Dark Soul weight units, and it's tied for the lightest halberd in the class with its Great Scythe brother. The lightweight and low stat requirement combination allows for this weapon to be accomodable, is that a word? I don't know, in many different builds and won't impact your ability to fast roll or medium roll. This weapon's weight is more similar to a smaller weapon classification like the hammer class perhaps. One more honorable mention that can't be measured on the graph, this weapon's just straight up cool. It's a scythe. Feels good to just cruise around harvesting your enemies like the Grim Reaper or something. The long curved handle and a pointy blade at the top just looks so cool. Also, the backstab and riposte animations are funny. They just use the halberds animation, so it doesn't make any sense that you're just ramming this wooden rod into somebody. Now, the question that's on everybody's mind, is this an S tier weapon? The answer is absolutely yes. The base damage and low poise damage are literally the only bad things about this weapon. I feel like when you pick up the Great Scythe, you feel the reasons I showed on screen on why it's so good. You can feel those reasons in your hand when you use it. Unfortunately for the other weapons after this, I feel like this is going to be a tough act to follow up. But good luck! Once again, the Great Scythe was just such a nice weapon to use. You guys did a great job recommending this gem. What weapons do you guys want to see on this list? We have about 3 or 4 in the backlog that I'm currently working on, but what other weapons do you guys think are S tier? In particular, I'm interested in weapons that are super strong but aren't widely used for whatever reason. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all the feedback, and I'll see you guys around. Also, this is the first commentary that I got my pop filter in place. No more implosives. Let me know how you guys think this one sounds too.